R6 and R15, the eternal battle of Roblox's default character rigs. The conversation regarding the two rigs have been in contention since the birth of R15 in 2016, created as a successor to the classic R6 and a predecessor to R-Throw. In the realm of video making, R6 and R15 are seemingly the most popular choices for animation rigs, largely because they aren't as uncanny as R-Throw and they retain the iconic blocky aesthetic of Roblox. In this video, we will break down the difference between two of the most popularly used rigs in Roblox video making to see which one is superior. Before we begin, what separates R6 from R15? Well, it's simple, the number of contiguous parts on the character model. In the classic R6, it is formed of two arms, two legs, and a torso, and a head. Meanwhile, R15 has more than twice the components in its rig. Its two arms and legs are separated into three parts: the upper part that is directly connected to the torso, the lower components, and the appendages, the feet and the hands. The torso is split into two parts, an upper torso and a lower torso. A small but crucial detail later in the video. Altogether, forming 15 components of R15. There are more details that can separate these rigs. But by structure, this is essentially the key difference. Now let's break down these regs when used in practice. The addition of new joints in R15 makes a significant effect on the versatility of the rig. More articulation in the legs, arms, and a bit from the torso. As a person who often relies on creating still shots using Roblox characters, R15 is a choice for a clearer posing because you can see where the body bends and stiffens. In contrast, R6 benefits from its simplicity. Sure, sometimes the poses are harder to express than R6, especially if the arms are single-solid colored, making it difficult to discern where the hands are. But it still has some range and bodily expression. Sometimes those extra joints are unnecessary in many poses, especially if you want a very striking keyframes. 6 joints are all that is necessary. In animation, R15 may just mean having to deal with more work. Like said, technically R15 has larger possible range of expression because of the joints. Neither are really bad, but you see a trend of R6 being used in faster animations such as fights, which exchange key poses for movements. I've seen R15 being used when you only have a few keyframes, but they maximize expressiveness through body language. I suppose if you want to make something fast-paced where movement is prioritized over subtle body language, R6 is favorable. And if you're looking for something slower, but need to make the body language clearer, stick with R15. Now let's move on to outside of the extra joints, R15 has added customizability options, even ignoring R-Throw. A feature of R15 people rarely mention is the fact in Studio, you can easily modify the character scaling just by adjusting these number values parented to the character's humanoid. Within the rig's humanoid is the ability to change the height, depth, width, and other factors of the character. This is a great feature to be given for the rig, allowing for a wider range of bodily expression through the custom scaling. This isn't a feature afforded to R6 as it remains rigidly in its scaling of 5 studs of height and 4 studs of width. Let's say you want to combine 2 animations into one. In this example, let's combine the flossing emote with the Kazotsuki kick, with the top half of the rig playing one animation while the lower half plays the other. Notice how, because the position and orientation of the leg immediately depends on the torso, legs flare around all over the place. It floats, slides around, and it looks unnatural. If you wanted to have a rig to do one action on the upper body and do something else in the lower body, you might need to readjust the leg to make it more natural. This is normally why when people animate for R6, they animate the legs last, so they have to mess with the legs so much every time the torso changes. Surely this is a problem for R15 as well. Well, it is. People still would animate the legs last, but it is somewhat mitigated by the fact that the torso is split into 2. A upper torso and a lower torso, where the legs and arms are directly connected to only one of them. You can wildly move around the upper torso and legs all you want, and they won't impact each other unless you move the lower torso. When merging these two wildly different animations, the feet will remain grounded, not sliding at all thanks to the torso being split into two. This allows some degree of independence from the limbs. Imagine a scene where a character is walking, so use a pre-made walk animation on loop. However, you want the character to be doing various actions, maybe drink from a cup, go on a call, and gesticulate and whatnot. You might find doing this in R6 far more difficult and limiting because as soon as the torso twists, the legs will also slide off the ground. Keep the torso still, and the animation may come off as a little stiff. Because so much of the body is connected to the torso, incorporating secondary action might prove to require far more precision. Let's be honest, in spite of all the positive for R15, some people can't get over the fact that it looks kinda ugly. Look at the hands and feet. They have these distinct bevels that can be distracting. If you ever bend the arms and legs, you will inevitably have Z-fighting errors. Which might be fine if it only shows up for a few frames, but there's no way to get rid of this effect unless you slightly offset the limbs. But doing so has its issues. Yeesh. Not to mention, if you look closer, the bevels on R6 is smoother while R15 is more angular. I'm not sure how much this matters to the average person, but it's worth mentioning. Meanwhile, R6 is totally iconic. It's a design that's been untouched since the Roblox's inception. No, let's ignore that. In spite of how Roblox as a game evolved over the years, people still have a soft spot for the classic look. Nothing will take that away. Then again, we're talking about video making, and at the end of the day, we can't judge these rigs on face value alone, and we need to consider the usage in video production. You might notice a trend that the strength of R6 comes from its simplicity, and this is especially seen when you put the rig in the animation timeline. There we go, pretty harmless. Now compare this when you add the R15 rig in the timeline. Oh wow, that is a lot. The R15 inhabits 15 rows of space in the timeline. You really have to stretch the window to see all of it. R15 takes up more than twice the screen real estate R6 uses. This is significant because that means you're likely to spend more than twice as much time scrolling up and down in the timeline, having a save file twice as large, and need to adjust tweens twice as much. Doing R15 for your entire video can add to a lot of fiddling with the timeline. R6 is objectively more compact. Doing crowd scene in R6 is significantly easier to manage than all of them were animated using R15, which is why there are a few Roblox feature-length videos that utilize R15. Instead, going for the easier to manage and load R6. Well, I suppose that's all. In general, R6 has its limits, but it's not going away anytime soon. R15, while technically allows more freedom in expression customization, there's no natural cost of work power necessary to fully utilize it. But in the end, there must be one winner, and that is... I hate to be a fence setter after all that, but both really have their place. Both have their strong defenders and objectors, and I can't really come to a solid conclusion, largely because the choice between R6 and R15 is a false dichotomy. Don't get me wrong, those are two choices you have as far as built-in rigs in Roblox, but the world of Roblox video production is very broad, and this extends to the animation rigs you use. At the end of the day, Roblox does not force you to use R6 or R15. Those are the ones that Roblox directly supports, but anyone can make a custom rig in Roblox. It doesn't need to be human-shaped. Animals, vehicles, robots, maybe a monster, everyone has the freedom to make these rigs. And over the years, people have made derivatives to the classic R6 and improved on R15's feature. Why don't we have a rundown on the rigs that have a unique twist on the formula? R7. R7 is a modern modification of R6. It simply adds an additional joints to the torso, such that you can animate the bottom half and the top half of the rig independently, resolving the issue of R6's leg dependence on the torso. It's a great compromise that takes the separation of the upper and lower body seen in R15 rigs with simple R6 limbs. Skinned R15. Skinned R15 gets rid of the ugly cementation of the joints by replacing the arms and legs with a single mesh. Now you don't have overlap issues. Instead, the mesh will fold in on itself naturally and smoothly. This way, you can have the bodily expressiveness of an R15 rigs without the seams in between the joints. Rigs with hands. What if 15 segmentations are not enough for you? What if you wanted more? You sound like a psychopath, but let me introduce you to Rig with Hands character model. which adds fingers to the hands of the models. Hands are a highly expressive part of the human body, so this rig gives you the extra digits on Roblox characters' stubby arms. It helps that the fingers themselves are simple and blocky, just like the rest of the body, stopping it from looking too uncanny. V8 rig is a mix of previously mentioned rigs. It includes the deforming mesh body and the fingers, but it also adds a unique and stylish face rig, as well as a modification on the body's proportions. V8 is noticeably more slender, but unlike R15's adjustable height, it's arguably more sleeker and natural looking. V8 is like a good middle ground between Roblox bodies and real human proportions, with far more expression and articulation and facial animation. Although the rigs mentioned in the video are free, you must obtain the current version of the rig through a legal server due to a policy on how the rig is shared. It's a fairly popular rig, and I think it's the most appealing design you'll see in this video. The R6 adapter is a little strange in concept. It is a meshed R15 rig, except the mesh doesn't reform, making it look like an R6 rig. The rig is originally a UGC package that forced any R15 play rig to be adapted into R6, and its usage is fairly niche. Perhaps it's usable as a quick fix if you want to translate an R15 rig animation back to R6 without doing the entire animation from scratch. Double joint R6. This is something I cooked up using my custom-built rig utility plugin, which creates double joints for all segments of the model. This means that you can animate pivot position of every part of the body anywhere you want, allowing full control on how the limbs can rotate. For example, I can rotate the arms like this like normal. However, shifting the pivot joints, I can rotate the body like this. There are some other Blender-related Roblox rigs that are available to the public, but how it can be used is beyond me or the contents of this video. So I think that's all. I see a lot of Roblox videos, and R6 and R15 both take the lion's share of the rigs people use for these projects. Both serve their purpose, but I want to use this video as an opportunity to explain that there are plenty of options in the world of Roblox video creation, and I think people who are new to this medium should look into these options. In the description, I have a model that compiles all the rigs discussed in the video, and hopefully, you'll find a rig that is suited to your project. And thank you for watching. I would like to say I apologize for the lack of uploads on the channel, at least the uploads regarding tutorials, which seems to be the most successful videos on RSVP. We've been focusing on video content, mostly on the server, and we're trying to experiment seeing how we can interact with our audience. One of the things we've been working on is that we released our merch. That's right, we actually have a Roblox group now, and we have 6 shirts on sale. So if you want to support us, you can buy those 6 shirts. They're at the lowest price of 5 Robux, so hopefully the prices don't break the bank. Please support us if you can. We plan on releasing more shirts in the future, so to keep up, we'll be announcing it on the YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to us, join our Roblox group, or join our Discord server. We still have plans for RSVP, tutorials, future content. We're still releasing free models on the server. Hopefully, you guys are excited for that just as we are. And thank you so much, especially for the subscriber. We recently hit 2K subs, which isn't really much, but in my previous channel, it took years to reach that level. So thank you very much. This has been, so far, a very fun experiment content to work on. And hopefully, I continue to give you the kind of content that everyone seems to enjoy. So, yeah, thank you for watching.